for waiting on us for the technical difficulties, and you had heard some conversations early on. We'll call this Tuesday, October 26, 2021, Reno County Commission meeting to order. At this time, we'll stand for the flag salute and a prayer by Pastor David Hubovich from Park Place Christian. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Pastor.
Okay, let's go to God in prayer. Heavenly Father, on this day, we come to you, first of all, giving you thanks for the many blessings you bestow upon us each day. First of all, we thank you for the night's rest you have given each of us, and for the new adventures and new possibilities that await us this day, oh God, for the opportunities, oh God, we give you thanks for those times during this day, through this week, that we have not only new adventures, but things that may come across our paths. God, help us to be ever grateful. God, we thank you for the work that the county commissioners do, for the work that they are doing for this community. We give you thanks for them and for the hard work and the labor that they put into their daily lives. God, we give you thanks. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor David.
Sure.
And by way of welcoming, I think this is a time that when I hear of a few good things and positive things that are happening that I'd like to mention. And one is, I'd say congratulations to Trevor Beard, and I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, of Hutchinson. He received a $1,000 Kansas Sheriff Association scholarship, and he's attending HCC. And another item that I'd like to talk about is it was on the front page of the Hutch News this morning, and that's the fact that the results of a community working together shows up in the fact that Abbeville Frontier Days PRCA Rodeo was nominated for the Small Rodeo of the Year award. And Jeff Welker and all the volunteers involved with that just shows what a small community can do. And also there was two of the folks that grew up out in that area that were nominated for their specific jobs as they handle in rodeo, and that's Haley Birdwell and Justin Rumford. So congratulations to all those folks, and just as a good reminder of volunteering services to make things happen in your community. Is there anyone here in the public that wants to comment on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, is there any additions or revisions to the agenda? Mr. Sellers?
No.
Randy?
Yes. Would like to add two resolutions to the consent agenda. A resolution about the accessory building structures that was passed at the last commission meeting, and then a resolution approving a conditional use permit for the establishment of a firearms range and training facility at the landfill.
Okay. Well, that's also
Which yes.
separate items
Two separate items on the consent for
on the consent
two
agenda.
different resolution numbers.
Okay.
So would that be item G and item H?
Yes. Added to.
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that motion, noting that resolution 25 is the updating the zoning regulations, and resolution 26 is the conditional use permit for the establishment of firearms range and training. Further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Sellers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst,
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is a report from Startup Hutch from Mr.
Don't we
Jack.
need to approve the consent agenda?
Okay, I'm sorry, I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, that's
The
fine.
additions or revisions, glad you kept me on the front straight there. Consent agenda then would consist of vouchers to declare a 2006 Dodge Dakota as surplus and dispose of on Purple Wave auction. Declare Public Works 2001 Superior trailer as surplus to be auctioned on Purple Wave. A letter of support for disability supports of the Great Plains, application for the Kansas Department of Transportation Operating Assistance Grant. Board of County Commission minutes for September 14th, 2021, that was tabled from October 12th. Board of County Commission, October 12th, 2021, drafted minutes. And then the resolution 25 and 26, as I just mentioned. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda items A through H.
I'll second that motion. Further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Sellers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst.
Yes. Now we'll go to the report from Mr. Jackson Swear on Startup Hutch.
Great.
Might explain about the new, if someone doesn't know it, what Startup Hutch is.
Absolutely. So Startup Hutch is a local nonprofit organization that serves Reno County entrepreneurs. We want to work with people to help them start their business, but not just that. We want to help existing businesses to expand, and we want to help people who are looking to transition out of their business to help them make that a successful transition, both for them and for the new owner coming in to preserve our Reno County businesses. All of that occurs under the umbrella of Startup Hutch, which was formerly the Quest Center of Entrepreneurs. And so that's kind of what our work is. We consider ourselves to be the convener of the community of local entrepreneurs and people who provide resources to those entrepreneurs, and we're glad to do that. So I'm here today to just give a little bit of a kind of an interim report. The commission has asked me before to return, not just around budget time, but in the in-between times, to share a little bit about what we have been doing and what we have coming up. So I hope to do that a little bit today. The one item that was in the packet for you all today was a flyer about our Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge, which is something that I wanted to make sure to emphasize today. That's coming up on November 23rd. It will be a virtual event this year. We probably can get some people into the Zoom call for the presentations from the young students. If they are interested, contact me about that. We made the decision to go virtual again this year very early on. We thought that would be a safer thing to do. We were not sure what the situation would be and thought that pivoting to online very late on would be very challenging. We had a successful virtual event last year, so we're excited about that. We are a little down on registration for students this year. We've got 14 students already registered, although I know I've got one classroom of students that is waiting to get on and get officially signed up. And we have had a few challenges with instructors and some health issues this year that I think hindered our ability to continue our path of growing the event that we started on last year. And I look forward to next year having the event again. It seems strange to talk about 2022 and we're about to do 2021, but I think it's very likely we'll be able to return in person. And I'm looking forward to that because that gives the students an opportunity to really hear and interact with members of the public who come in to listen to their presentations. So, but all that to say, November 23rd at 10 a.m. we'll have students from the 9th grade to the 12th grade coming in to present to a series of judges about their business ideas. And they'll also have to submit a written business plan in advance of that, which will also be judged. The winner of the event gets a $600 award, so there's quite a little bit of incentive for the students to do that. And the winner is also entered into the statewide competition up at K-State, where they can win even more. We also have prizes for second and third place, and also for the instructors of the winning team. So that's an exciting one that we have coming up. Other things that we have going on right now that I want to share with the commission and also with the broader community include a survey that the Reno County Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Partnership, that's quite the mouthful, but that's a group that Startup Hutch is involved with that also includes the county, the city of Hutchinson, the Community Foundation, our Chamber of Commerce, our friends over at Network Kansas out of Wichita and SCED, as well as local entrepreneurs and local bankers and other local resources for entrepreneurs that have been meeting really since back in 2017 under the banner of the Entrepreneurship Task Force. Back at that time, in the early days of that task force, they did a survey of local entrepreneurs to see what the gaps were in our current system for serving entrepreneurs. And we're trying to do an update on that survey to see and compare from 2017. We're going to keep that survey open through November 15th. You can find information about that on the Startup Hutch Facebook page and also on startuphutch.com. You go to our website and click on news and events. You'll have to scroll down a few posts to find it there. But you can take that survey. And one group that we're really looking to get some more feedback from are people who are just starting up right now and people who are thinking about starting a business. We've got some pretty solid feedback from some businesses that are already established and in the early stages. And we got some help from the Chamber of Commerce to get that out to their membership as well. But I think we're missing a few voices from people who are thinking about starting a business. So I'm hoping that maybe a few people who are listening in today will fit that description, and perhaps some of our media partners today will help us to get that word out as well. And one other thing that we have done recently that I want to share is we did a succession planning workshop earlier this summer. That was a great event. And in our most recent newsletter, we shared a video of that event as well, so that people who weren't able to attend can get that. I think that's a really important area of work for Startup Hutch to continue to lean into. We have a lot of existing businesses around Reno County, including in a number of the towns outside of Hutchinson, that are really vitally important to those local economies, and we want to be able to keep those businesses going as the owners are transitioning out. We know that that's going to be that's already a major need and is going to be a larger need as we continue on through the next at least 5 or 10 years as the current generation of business owners gets to that point where they're ready to retire. And we're hoping to cultivate a pool of people to buy those businesses and help them have the resources that they need to do that, not just to get the current owners out of that business successfully, but also to make sure that those businesses continue to be a vital part of those local economies for years and years to come. And I'm hopeful that we can get the longer video cut down into a few shorter segments of some resources to help people answer some critical questions that they need to know the answers to when they're looking to sell or buy their business. One final item that I want to share with you all today is that we are, Startup Hutch is launching what we're calling our Double Dare Challenge, and we're inviting people to go to startuphutch.com to submit the names of their businesses for this Double Dare Challenge. What that means is that we're trying to recognize all of the Reno County businesses that have doubled in size from January 1 of 2019 through the end of this year. So that might mean going from 1 employee to 2 employees or 25 to 50 employees. And we hope that by hearing from people who have grown and hearing about their experiences and then celebrating that, including some of the people who are still very small but are really starting to grow, that we will be able to see and recognize those businesses for their important contributions to job growth in this community. So we know that big industrial manufacturing businesses can bring a lot of jobs all at once, and they're a critical part of our local economy. And I personally think that the Hutchinson Reno County Chamber is doing a great job to try to attract those sorts of businesses. Startup Hutch's role is really to help our smaller businesses to expand and grow and to help newer people get going. And so we want to recognize those people as well. And just as I'll conclude here, and I think if I quit talking earlier, then we might all be able to leave soon. So that, since I think I might be one of the only items on the agenda, but I did want to share just a little bit of some of the hard data about what we've been up to in the last year since the beginning of 2021. So we have, since just July 1 of 2021, I have a, pause for just a moment here. Where are they? Okay. Actually, since July 1 of 2021, Startup Hutch got some new software that we're using to track our current clients. We really had to do that because we were seeing so many more people coming in to start up Hutch from before, and the old Excel spreadsheet wasn't cutting it anymore. And so I can say that since July 1 of 2021, we've seen 50 people come through the doors talking about trying to start a business. I think that's really remarkable. There's considerable interest in Reno County and people trying to get things started. And I can also share that between Startup Hutch and our partners at Network Kansas, we've loaned a total of $458,000 to local entrepreneurs since January 1 of this year. Now, quite a bit of that is in one project for the Hope Hotel in downtown Hutchinson, but there were a handful of others, some smaller loans. And just for some broader context to that, since 2013, Startup Hutch, just through Network Kansas, so this is not including one of the side loan funds, has loaned almost $900,000 at an average loan size of about $30,000. So we've been able to help a lot of entrepreneurs since 2013, and that has really been made possible through our partnership with Network Kansas. They have a number of loan funds from their E-Community Fund, which stands for Entrepreneurship Community, Startup Kansas Fund, and another larger pool of funds called the Capital Multiplier Fund that really helps get some of these larger projects started, which we usually don't get to leverage, but which we were able to use for the Hope Hotel project. And I think those are the key points that I wanted to share with you all today. I would welcome any questions from the commissioners if you have anything that you'd like to know about Startup Hutch.
Jackson, thank you for being here. Come more often. I think it's important that the public know the work of your group. Particularly like the fact that you had the meeting on succession planning. I think that's an extremely important part of keeping businesses open, because it's so hard to lose an owner or major operator. The latest census shows that Reno County is down 4% in population. To my knowledge, we don't quite know where that's at yet. Is that correct, Randy?
We don't have all the details of it.
The details of where that 4% aren't in, but I was in a meeting the other day and was told that a couple people moved here from San Francisco, and they liked the place, and some relatives of theirs have moved, and the story is that 3 families now have moved here because of this, and another group has moved here from Montana and so forth. Can you discuss at all your knowledge of what working remotely is doing and helping Reno County? I know that this is a little bit different than helping startups, but do you have any knowledge of what might be happening here with people coming to our community?
Well, I don't know that I can speak specifically to Reno County. I don't know that I have any evidence about how effective we are right now at attracting remote work. But I can say that based on what I'm reading in sort of the newsletters that I am on, talking about entrepreneurship and how to grow local businesses, and particularly those that emphasize rural areas of the country, that this emerging possibility for remote work is it's an opportunity for communities like ours to take advantage of. People who used to have to live in a big city in an urban environment in order to work for, say, a larger business within their industry. I'm thinking of one specific example, say accounting, where there are a number of major accounting firms and they have big offices in the urban areas. Well, a lot of folks are going to be able to work for companies like that from wherever they want to going forward, or at least for wherever they want to, say 28 out of 30 days out of the month. And I think that if Reno County can become an attractive place for people to come and live and do remote work, then that will allow us to capture some of those individuals who maybe won't be working here in Reno County, but they will be living in Reno County and bringing their dollars in from where they work and spending them in Reno County, which of course helps our property taxes and our sales tax revenues. Some things that I can think of that will be important for that are making sure that we have fast internet connections available all over the county. That includes in some of the sort of the smaller towns outside of Hutchinson as well. Often people want to live in places like that, and they don't because they can't work where they want to work. And of course, housing is another critical issue for that as well. We have to have appropriate housing for sort of middle-class workforce and have enough of that be available so that it's accessible for people. That's sometimes called the missing middle in the housing world, which is not really the world that I am working in right now necessarily, but one which I'm familiar with from past work.
Let me ask the question differently. You said that since July, you've had 50 people come in the door for entrepreneurship. Are any of these people relocated people, to your knowledge? Or
That's an interesting question. I can think of at least one who I know moved here from Florida with the intention of starting up his own startup here. And I'd have to sort of go through the list in a more detailed way in order to answer that in a more comprehensive fashion. But I can think of at least one just sitting here.
Well, I wonder how long the opportunity will exist to attract the remote worker. You know, it seems to be a big thing right now, clear across the country. And I can, just in my conversations with people in the community, think of 4 or 5 people that have moved to Hutchinson from metropolitan areas. And I think they've done it for cost of living and quality of life and, you know, some of those things. And I guess within your contacts and all, any way that we can make it people aware that we're open for business would be encouraged.
I absolutely agree with that. And as somebody who, you know, grew up here and then spent some time living in Chicago and moved back to Reno County specifically for those reasons of cost of living and quality of life here, I'm certainly a big advocate for that. I hope that people around the country can get that message. And I think that partnering through Startup Hutch and our local chamber and you know, folks like you all here at Reno County, hopefully we can get that message out to folks.
Ron?
Thank you for bringing that up, because that's one thing that I think we sometimes maybe need a little more emphasis in, and especially involving our high school alumni groups with the age of your age and those that have families that offer an awful good opportunity for because of the educational system we have and the opportunities for involvement that sometimes when you're new to an area, you don't get that same opportunity for involvement. And if they want to, they have that opportunity here.
I think that's right. And just one other anecdote that I can share. It's been a few years ago now, but I had a recent high school reunion in which one of my classmates expressed to me that they really wished that they could move back to Hutchinson, but they weren't sure that they could get a job here. They had a concern about that. And I think that, well, first of all, I'd say there are lots of jobs available here. So to that person, if you're listening, come back. But also I'd say, you know, there's never been a better time to move to a community like Hutchinson or a community in Reno County like Arlington or Haven or Nickerson and have that opportunity to start your own business or to come in and work remotely for whoever you work for now. This is, if you've been wanting to move back home, now is a good time to do it.
And 45 minutes to a large enough airport to handle that business meeting that they have to attend once in a while.
Absolutely, you can get from Wichita to pretty much anywhere in the country.
I appreciate this youth contest, business contest, and I would encourage you, if you're involved in a business class at your local school, whether it's JUCO or whether it's high school or whether it's middle school, because there's a lot of things going on in the middle schools now, is that encourage children to be involved in this. I know one high school student several years ago that won a very nice scholarship, and he actually won the state and went on to the international down in Florida. And he's operating a small business now himself. And encourage not only business classes, but the FFA programs to see about being involved in this and contacting you. Is this only for Reno County?
We are hosting a Reno County competition, but there are youth entrepreneurship challenges all over the state.
Okay. I know I was involved in one contest out of Stafford to help judge it here several years ago. So I was just make sure that that was true. And I'd also encourage those people, word of mouth is a very important part of your getting that knowledge out to people that, hey, we've got some help here that really can help. And having, I was glad you mentioned that 458,000, because there's not many counties around that have gap funding that's over 400,000. I don't know of any. In fact, people I've talked to have been amazed that we have that ability. And with also the several choices, both Network Kansas and SCED for the big projects and the long-term financing projects. So that's very encouraging to me that we still have that pool of money. It came from several sources, and including USDA, and that's very great. But
Jackie, do you have a good association with SCED?
Yes, I'm on the board of directors, actually.
Well, that should be good. And I think that's important because there's a resource there, and Ron knows more about SCED than I do, but I don't know that so many people really understand how that all works. And
I think that's, yeah.
I think that's a real positive thing for loans for people coming from SCED, so.
I think that's right. I think a key part of our function is to be a connector to different resources. We have a lot of resources in-house, mentioning these loan funds, but there are even more resources out there, and particularly for bigger projects or SBA-backed loans, SCED really has the expertise to work on those, and so we'd love to partner with them.
Okay.
thank you. Have any more?
No, thank you, Jackson.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
County Administrator report. And I might ask you about these.
No, those are
Okay.
for me.
Oh, those are for you.
Yeah. I couldn't determine where the bypass around Nickerson was going, so I asked for a map.
All right.
Just wanted to kind of bring you up to date and then see if you have a date that you want to end the application process for the planning commission members. I handed you out a packet and I emailed that to you, your county emails also this morning, so you'll have a digital copy. What's in it is kind of a list of the appointments or the process. Comes to the county commission, you guys make that decision. And as a reminder that the second page shows the current members of the planning commission. And as a reminder, Bruce Buchanan he resigned and is no longer a part of the planning commission, so the other 6 make up the commission at this time. And then Lisa French, she ends her term at the end of this year, and she's hit her max amount of service for this time. So that leaves 2 openings that need to be filled probably by the end of the year so that they can begin in January. The next page kind of shows a GIS map of where the current members of the planning commission are, the people that have applied, and the 2 that are leaving the planning commission, just so you kind of get an overview of what parts of Reno County are represented by the planning commission. The rest of the packet is the 5 applications that have been received. So I kind of wanted to see, we haven't received an application for a couple weeks now. Is there a time you wanted me to end it to bring back the final list for you guys to make a decision on?
I would suggest the last meeting in November, just because the contacts that I've had out there, I didn't have an ending time, but I just said the middle of November. So,
Okay, and I need a little more clarification. I understand certain Hutchison members, certain rural members, so forth, but with the one that resigned, is that a rural member, or is that a Hutchison member, or what
He
spot
was
is it?
inside the city.
But
He was inside the city.
So one of the appointments needs to be inside of the city?
No, the majority of the planning commission has to live in unincorporated areas. So out of the 7, 4 need to live in the unincorporated areas. That doesn't mean you can't have 5
Five.
members in the unincorporated areas,
Okay.
but
Okay, thanks.
but the
for
one that it has
clarification.
left is inside a city limits.
So, Ron, you're suggesting that we cut off applications the last of November? Is that what you just said?
so that we would have the applicants in for our, the end of November meeting.
Oh, okay. So recommendations would be made at the last meeting in November for appointment,
That's-
first of the year?
Either that or the first one in December.
There's 2, in November, there's 3 meetings. The first meeting that we have, that I'll talk about in a minute here, and then the 4th Tuesday, and then we have the 5th Tuesday. So there's November 30th, 29th or 30th, I think is the last meeting of November. So there's one back-to-back, last 2 weeks of November. If you wanted to end it in the middle of November, then to bring it the last
Meeting.
last normal meeting, and then still talk about it at the special 5th Tuesday meeting, if you wanted.
Well, I was under the understanding that you weren't wanting to make these appointments until effective January 1st.
They would be effective January 1.
This would give them a chance to maybe go to at least one planning commission meeting to kind of learn what the planning commission, or kind of observe firsthand what the planning commission deals with.
I agree with that process. I don't think it's fair to appoint these new people while the planning commission hasn't finished their wind work. There's too much background there that brand-new people don't have access to. Is that
So
fair?
you're suggesting appointing him in December? I mean, for the, or
That's where I'm.
end of December meeting,
Yes,
28th?
yeah. I think so.
I could,
Don't you agree that
yeah.
I don't think it's fair to the appointee or to the public for a person that hasn't got the background on wind to
Right.
even be involved in what we're asking the planning commission to do on wind. Is that fair?
It wouldn't be effective until January 1,
Okay.
at least. Yeah, that's fine with me. I understand the thought of, as Administrator brought out, of training, but let's face it, they didn't have any training last year, and we need to have some training.
Well, what about then trying to appoint them the last meeting in November for an effective January 1st date, and then if they desire to go to the December meeting, they can sit in?
That'd be fine with me,
Okay,
if that'll work with you, okay?
that's fine.
Okay.
The last meeting in November?
And I'm glad that we have, what do you say, 5 applicants at this point?
Yes.
Yes, I am too. I agree, Commissioner Sellers. And my thought on it is to effectively, we kind of need to look at people from different areas in the county and city.
True.
Okay?
Okay, the next item, we passed it around. I think you also received an email last night from the county clerk. It's just notification that the city of Haven has sent an ordinance regarding their RHID, Rural Housing Incentive District, an ordinance. The county would have 30 days to protest if the county does not want to be a part of that. So I'm just bringing that to your attention.
Well, I think, aren't we in support of these kinds of processes that cities have available to encourage new housing in the county. I think we're giving up some money in the near future to gain money in the future on a tax base by doing this. So,
Completely agree.
so
Okay.
I think your response should be that the county commission supports what they're doing in Haven.
Okay, I'll let them know. The other item I have is the next county commission meeting. It had been discussed at a previous meeting that Commissioner Friesen was not available during that second week of November. And depending on what's on the agenda, to see if there was an alternate date to have the commission meeting. The November 3rd looks like it'd be a day that works for all three of you. It's a Wednesday, it's next week on a Wednesday. The only item, one or two items on the agenda right now that I've seen, and that is the Community Corrections Annual Update by Randy Regier. And then we may add a progress update by Megan at the landfill and SCS engineers regarding their project, the landfill project, just an update of what's going on there. So if you guys want to meet on November 3rd, we would then skip the one that was scheduled for the 9th and then not. So kind of wanted to see if you wanted to do that or keep it on November 9th, knowing that Commissioner Friesen will not be able to be in attendance. And we would keep the agenda light. Because there may still be things that get added this week that I haven't been made aware of yet.
For having the meeting next week so all three of us can be here.
I am too. November 3rd.
November 3rd. Okay, the annex is not available. This room's not available. We'll probably go back to at the courthouse, the old commission room. It's kind of tore up a little bit, but I think we can make it work. I'll check with IT about audio visual. Since we moved things for audio and visual, I'll see what needs to be done to have that streaming
I
available.
think John Green just might as well plan on being here next Wednesday.
Yes. I think we should have that even if we don't have audio visual.
Sure.
I know we could at least do a Zoom. We could put it on Zoom,
Good.
and then record it, but that's
Yeah.
not ideal for the county commission meetings.
Well, it's been previous meetings before we had all this technical thing, so we didn't have that available either, so.
Okay, I've got two subjects here. The project administrator on the courthouse repair gave us some dates. Are they making those dates at this point in time, or?
I've noticed they have more people and they're working on weekends now, so I believe they will make those dates.
Well, I think maybe Commissioner Hurst brought up the idea that we're going to get into bad weather, so top of that courthouse needs to be done. And I'm disappointed that's taken so long, but I don't think there's much that we can do about it. Okay, I want to make three fairly quick comments on the 3 to 5 ballot that is in front of people on November 2nd. One, we just talked about that we're moving a county commission meeting due to the fact that one commissioner can't be here, and so at least myself, I don't think it's in the interest of the county to just have two commissioners, so I suggest that this is a good reason to have 5 commissioners, because there's always going to be times that one commissioner can't be there. You have conflicts, you have illness, you have vacations and so forth, and so I think that's an excellent reason for 3 to 5. And then by going to church on Sunday, I heard this phrase, and I think this is appropriate for the 3 to 5. If you always do what you have done, you'll always have what you've already got. I think that's a good phrase for what I'm thinking, that we can have a better public policy with 5 members. And then the final thing, and I don't mean to be argumentative here, but there was an article by John Green in the Hutchinson News, I believe a week ago Sunday, and it was expressed that one of the reasons that the 3 to 5 is on the ballot, suggested a major reason was because of the wind controversy, and I don't believe that that's an accurate statement. I think there's so many other reasons for 5 commissioners that have been talked about within the county. I don't believe that wind is a major reason for why this was put onto the ballot, and I was the one that proposed it, and certainly I wasn't thinking of wind when I proposed it. There's other reasons that 5 commissioners will better serve the public. So with that, that's all my comments, Chairman.
I'd just like to say that, in my opinion, as we as commissioners, we should put the information out there. And despite our views on whether we should or should not go 3 to 5, whether we should or should not do other things as they come up, that I think we should be responsible for putting the information out there and then let the public decide. I don't feel that it's my place to promote one thing or the other. I think we need to put it out there, and that's just my personal opinion. And I know we can disagree on that, but that's fine. That's what this democratic republic is all about. So that's just my feelings, and I've tried to stay that way. I certainly have. So anyway, I think we got a lot of positive things going on here in Reno County, and I think Jackson Swear brought up a whole lot of good items that are happening, and I think we can progress, and I think the housing is a good example of a community looking forward. And I've always said that 40 mills times 0 is still 0, but 40 mills times $1 million 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line is some real money. And I think that's an instance to where we need to look forward in those areas. So that's all I have.
One other item, when I mentioned the meetings, we'll have the November 3rd meeting, but we still have a November 9th canvas meeting to do the canvas of the votes. So we'll still need you guys to be at the annex on November 9th for the canvassing of
And
the
have
votes.
you been appointed, or who's the third appointee on that?
You guys can appoint whoever you want. If you want me to do it, I did it last year.
So we
when there
need
were
to
some
do
issues.
that on November 3rd to appoint you.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all the additional.
All right. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.